Let's talk about WWE TLC 2017. And I gotta tell you, it wasn't a perfect show. There were a couple things I didn't really care for, but I'm telling you right now, this was probably my favorite WWE pay per view of the year. I went to WrestleMania. I liked it. I liked the Rumble. I liked a few things here and there. This was definitely my favorite WWE pay per view of the year. That main event was so awesome. It felt different. It felt fresh. It felt spontaneous. It felt like old school wrestling. It felt like something out of the Attitude Era when it was exciting and fun and unpredictable. It felt like something out of the Monday Night War era, something out of Memphis, something out of, I'm old school, so you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know, look it up. Something out of ECW. Like, this was, you got two killer matches on this show and a few other good matches. And I'm telling you right now, we have a lot to talk about. I want to get into what happened on this show and kind of my thoughts on it, all right? So, for those of you who, I'm sure everybody knows by now, on Friday, a lot of WWE guys were pronounced or announced to be sick, including Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns. I already covered it on the channel, so they had to pull them from this show in Minneapolis. Kurt Angle replaced Roman Reigns in the main event, and so it was going to be a Shield reunion, but instead it was Kurt Angle wearing the armor and everything, teaming with Ambrose and Rollins against The Miz, Kane, Cesaro, Sheamus, and Braun Strowman, 3 versus 5. That's the main event, a tables, ladders, and chairs match, but it wasn't a TLC where they hung something from the top of the ring like in old TLCs. It was first guy to get a pinfall or submission wins. It was one of those kind of matches. And then also later on we found out too that because Bray Wyatt was sick, AJ Styles replaced him. So we had AJ Styles versus Finn Balor in what is basically a dream match for many hardcore fans. Both these guys made a name for themselves in New Japan Pro Wrestling as leaders of the Bullet Club at different points, and this is their first one-on-one meeting that I remember. I can't think of any other time they had a match. Maybe on the indies like years ago. Plus, the show had the debut of Asuka. So, tons of stuff here. But the main event was something else. Something else. Now, I want to cover I'm not going to go match by match because a lot of reviewers do that. I don't want to really do that, but I do want to give you some highlights, okay? Asuka versus Emma was fine. I liked it. I thought it was the crowd. First of all, the crowd here at the Target Center was very much into everything, and I really made the show more enjoyable. It really felt fresh. Like, it felt like the product was hot. And I remember talking to Mike from Laughingstock Media about this, and we were talking about how WWE was losing guys because of the sickness, and he was telling me, well, this might be a good thing. And I thought about it, and I'm like, it might be good. Obviously, I don't want guys to get sick, but what I mean by that is when WWE has main eventers drop out or get hurt or whatever, it gives the opportunity for new guys to shine. And some people definitely shone on this show, and it was just such a fun and fresh show. So anyways, back to Asuka. A little bit of a slower match than her typical matches were, but I thought Emma was really good here as far as selling goes. I liked the match. I thought it was a good, solid debut for Asuka. I don't think they're going to go right into the match with her and Bliss yet. I think that's coming later because based on what happened tonight with Mickie James and Bliss, Bliss beat Mickie James clean later on in the show, but afterward Mickie James cut a post-match promo where she says she wanted another rematch. So I think they're going to keep that feud going for maybe a month or two before they have the Asuka feud. I'm guessing the Asuka feud is probably going to be late this year, early next year, or maybe even hold off until WrestleMania. I think that would be an interesting match. And speaking of which, the Alexa Bliss Mickie James match was also pretty good. Not the knockout 5-star match, but it was good. It was fun to watch. Earlier in the show, they had a really cool vignette where they had the Shield members, not Roman Reigns, but Seth and Dean, give Kurt Angle armor. So he's an honorary member of the Shield for tonight, and that was cool. That was very, very cool. Now, they also had a 205 Live tag match, which was Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann against Kendrick and Jack Gallagher. I really enjoyed this match. I think Cedric and Swann are very, very underrated talents. I think they need to come out of their shell a little bit more. But the work I thought was really, really fun. Really good stuff. Also, the video packages on this show for Kurt Angle were damn near tear-jerking. Just seeing his career. This is his first WWE match in 11 years, and I really wish there was more build-up to it. But it's one of those things where you have to understand this, folks. WWE lost Roman and Bray, and for the people who bought a ticket at Minneapolis, the best thing you could do is give them something like this, and they'll never forget it. And I will never forget this show. This is a show that will stick with me forever because of how much fun I had watching it, especially the main event. We're going to get to it here in a minute. Kalisto and Enzo for the Cruiserweight title. Don't care. Don't give a damn. They did vignettes throughout the night, building up a Jason Jordan-Elias match. Two guys who I could not care any less about. I literally could not care any less about Elias or Jason Jordan. The Jason Jordan push was a complete flop. And one of the problems I had during the main event was there was a spot in the main event where Kurt Angle was taken out of the match due to injury. Where was Jason Jordan? Like, why wasn't he out there, like, concerned? You know, that's his dad, you know, in storyline. That was kind of stupid. But they kept having, like, Elias try to play the guitar, and Jordan kept throwing, like, bananas and, like, fruits at him. It was really dumb. It was, who cares? And they did the segment 3 times. Elias is boring to me, just not a very good worker. Jason Jordan has the charisma of a doorknob. I just don't want to see these dudes. I don't care. And it's going to end up going to a longer feud because Jason Jordan won with a roll-up. Just not good stuff. Now, Finn Balor, AJ Styles. Really, really, really good match. I mean, really good. But it wasn't like a masterpiece. I think they're saving stuff for a rematch down the road. I'm predicting that this is going to be the beginning of a multi-match series, but not right away. I think AJ and Finn are going to wrestle again in the future, but not like tomorrow night. I mean, who knows what they're going to do, but I do think they're going to have rematches, and AJ will probably end up winning those. I see this going sort of like the Kevin Owens and the John Cena feuds, where AJ will win a few, Finn will win a few, and that's how it's going to be. And most are going to end up being clean finishes. This was a clean finish. He did the double stomp from the top rope and got the 1, 2, 3. Clean pin. They did the too sweet sign afterward, which popped the entire crowd, except probably the Young Bucks. But there was so much good stuff. I mean, there was a spot where Styles tackled him onto the announce table and they flipped over. There was an awesome little like running backflip kick where AJ bumped on the outside. There was an awesome Rey Mysterio-like springboard Hurricane Rana. There was, you know, the way AJ and Finn were selling. Just a really good match. Just a really, really good match. A good story with two guys trying to beat each other. And I want to see more matches with these guys. Like I said, I don't think they really had you know, like the match yet. But I think they can build to a bigger rematch later on. But it definitely was amazing. Like, wrestling-wise, it was great. And that's what I want to tell you about this pay-per-view. Even though Jason Jordan and Elias was whatever, and the Cruiserweight match is what, you know, the title match, the Enzo Amore match was whatever, the women's matches were good, and you got a lot of, like, you got a good mixed bag of stuff, right? You had a tag match with the Cruiserweights. You had the women worked hard. You had a great wrestling match, like a good classic wrestling match with AJ and Finn Balor. Then you had the main event. The main event, this was an amazing match. There were more storylines here. There was a million storylines in this match going on, and I'm not the kind of guy who's too big on having too many things go on at once, but I think for this match, it worked because the thing that made this match so incredible to watch, this was my favorite WWE match of the year. And like I said, this is my favorite, and I love SummerSlam's main event too. This is my favorite pay-per-view of the year because even though WrestleMania had a lot of really good matches, Undertaker and Roman Reigns was nowhere close to being as satisfying an ending as this, even though it was Taker's last match, or so we believe. We really don't know. Who knows if he'll come back, but this match was so satisfying, not just as a fan of Kurt Angle, but really as a fan of all these guys, because I have love for all the wrestlers in this match in one way or another, including The Miz, because like it or not, The Miz did an amazing job in this match. So the thing that made this match so good, it wasn't the plunder or the weapons, even though that added layers to the story, and it was good smoke and mirrors so that Kurt wouldn't end up getting hurt. And I was worried about Kurt taking ladder bumps, but thankfully he did not. Kurt's neck has never been 100%, never will be 100%, so I did worry about that. But what made this match great was that it felt spontaneous. One thing I can't stand about wrestling is when it feels too scripted. It feels too fake and too predictable. This match, because it was 3 versus 5, it felt like an actual fight. Like, it felt like these dudes were fighting. Angle, Rollins, and Ambrose came out from the crowd with the Shield introduction. So Angle, again, was an honorary member of the Shield. It was more like Angle trying to fit in with them than his actual return. So I think they are going to save a one-on-one Kurt Angle match for a big pay-per-view later on. I could totally see that happening. And there was so much stuff going on in this match. I love this match so much. So in the match, they open up with like Angle and the Shield, I guess, coming in there with chairs, and they're trying to take out the big men. I loved the storytelling in this freaking match, dude. This is my favorite match of the year, bro, without question, because there's so many good things. The storytelling of the match was Angle and Seth and Dean wanted to take out the big guys first, Kane and Strowman, because they're the most dangerous guys. So they went in there with chairs and are whacking them, like chopping a tree down. One whacks from one side, one whacks from the other. So much fun. So they did a couple spots where they took out the big guys, including having like a simultaneous Seth and Dean came off 2 ladders through the announce tables on the outside to lay out Strowman and Kane. That was awesome. That was completely awesome. They did a few spots with Kurt Angle and Kane, which I thought was very nostalgic, because if you have been watching wrestling for a long time, you'll remember that Kane and Kurt Angle have a weird chemistry. Back in 2001, Kane and Kurt Angle had these really good matches on SmackDown that were so good. Like, Kane was not having these kind of matches, and Kurt was out there, and they just work well together, and we saw some of that here. There was a spot where so what happened was, Kurt was fighting his ass off. Dean and Seth were doing their stuff, their moves. They were teasing the triple powerbomb several times in the match. Angle gets laid out and stretchered out to the back. Now, this is sort of what they did with Brock at SummerSlam, so it was kind of a repetitive story, but I think it worked here better because Angle is the grizzled, aging veteran. And the story here is that Angle is not as young as, Sheamus and the other guys, but he's a veteran, he's a legend, and you cannot deny that. If you don't think Kurt Angle's a legend, you don't know shit about wrestling, point blank. So, the dude freaking Strowman and Angle, I was so worried because Strowman is a young guy. I didn't want him to hurt Kurt, but he put him with a power slam with his finisher through a table, and then Angle gets stretchered out. And again, no Jason Jordan anywhere. Not stretcher, but they were carrying him to the back. So it became 5-on-2. Love the storyline here. The odds were insurmountable for, Seth and Dean. And then what happened was Miz, who's kind of like, I love this so much. So Miz is the little dirtbag kind of leader here, where he's got all these big tough guys like Strowman, Cesaro, Sheamus, Kane. These are guys who are way tougher than him. He knows that, but he's bossing them around because he's the little weasel kind of leader. I love this so much, guys. I really did. And he's like, no, we're not just gonna beat them up. We're gonna hurt them. Let's go. So they leave the ring. They go out to like the staging area, right? This led to like the second portion of the match. Angle's gone, and out of nowhere they bring out a dump truck. And that's another thing, that this match was so wacky. This match felt like it was from another era. Like, it really felt, like I said, ECW, Memphis, Mid-South, Attitude Era. Different eras. Just kind of this unpredictable fight. It was a fight. They wheel out a garbage truck, and I'm thinking, okay, what's the purpose of this? They're going to put Seth and Dean in the garbage truck. That's what I'm guessing, right? So they make a comeback. They jump off the garbage truck and land on all the guys. Now, earlier in the match, they teased a Kane-Strowman fight because I think what happened was Strowman went for a chair shot and hit, Kane went for a chair shot and hit Strowman, and Strowman turned around, but it was an accident. So that's like, all right, whatever. Then as the fight progressed, or as the match progressed, there was a weird thing where I guess Strowman went full babyface here. I don't know for sure if he's going to stay that way, but what happened was Strowman shoves Kane. That was earlier in the show. I guess Kane kept his mind on it, and later on in the match, they have these tables set up on the outside, and freaking Kane turns on Strowman, and he chokeslams him off the stage and then drops it. So they had this string of chairs like dangling from the top of the building. He drops all the chairs on him from there, bro. So the whole thing was they're doing like the Super Shredder finish from Turtles 2. Like they drop all the chairs on him. He's down. Strowman is done. What was awesome about this? God, there's so many awesome things about this match. Strowman, he has chokeslammed through like the rampway, and he's you see his hand come up and grab Kane by the leg, like the monster still wants to fight. And then Kane pulled the chairs on him, laying him out. So they keep fighting, whatever. And then as they're fighting, Strowman comes out of the freaking chairs, like a monster, and starts beating the crap out of The Miz and all the other guys. So it's Strowman and Kane, but it's also 4-on-1 because at this point, Seth and Dean have been double chokeslammed through tables in the rampway. Again, there's so much stuff to cover. If I missed something, dude, sorry. There's just too much stuff happening here. So Strowman goes babyface, fights off the heels, and then the heels take Strowman, beat him up, and put him in the garbage truck and turn on the compactor. So we're supposed to believe that Strowman had the Super Shredder ending from Turtles 2 and the regular Shredder ending from Turtles 1. That's the way I saw it. And they literally wheeled the garbage truck left with Strowman inside of it. Obviously, he's not dead. He's all right. But this was so over-the-top wacky. So over the top. So at this point, Strowman's out, and it becomes 4-on-2. And so they fight their way back, and Dean and Seth, make a little bit of a comeback. They fight their way back to the ring, and again, they're going back to the plan of, let's hurt these guys. Like, Miz does not want to pin them yet. They want them to be hurt. Then Kurt Angle's music plays, and I mean Kurt's music, not the Shield music. Out comes Kurt. Huge comeback. They all go after him on the aisleway. He's like a superhero. Cesaro gets backdropped. Sheamus gets Olympic slammed. I think Cesaro took one through a table. Angle's making this heroic superhero comeback. They let Kurt Angle be my Olympic hero one more night. And I love you, Vince McMahon and WWE, for doing this. I love you for giving this man a chance to be a hero one more time. You don't know how much I love this. So he gets in there. He's fighting with Kane. It's a big schmoz once again, and it ends up where Kane ends up getting laid out. Cesaro and Sheamus are laid out, and it's The Miz in the ring, and he's in there one-on-one with Kurt Angle. Skull-crushing finale, right? I'm thinking, oh no, he's going to pin Kurt Angle. The same move he used to beat his son last month. Kurt kicks out of the skull-crushing finale. I popped so hard. I'm like, oh my goodness, the old man's going to do it. Tries to get him again. Angle gets him in the Olympic slam. In the ankle lock, excuse me. Miz reverses, Angle goes to the outside in a wacky fashion. Then the Shield surround him. Seth comes in, hits his move. Dean hits his move. Kurt Angle hits the Olympic slam. They triple power bomb him. 1, 2, 3. Kurt Angle pins the Miz. God, I love this so much. Oh my goodness. What an amazing, amazing match. It was so much fun. Like, the match was so wacky. I laughed during some portions of it when it got wacky. I popped. My Olympic hero did a great job. The Miz was a great slimy heel who got his comeuppance. I love that part. Kane and Braun Strowman were monsters. They kept showing the monster coming back. Cesaro and Sheamus did their part as well. Seth and Dean were badass. I loved this. If every wrestling pay-per-view was like this, man, I would love wrestling so much every single month. Again, this is my favorite pay-per-view of the year. If you have not seen this match, get on your WWE network and watch it. I don't care about the rest of the show. You can watch AJ and Finn if you want. That's a great match. Great match. But this was just, oh man, it just felt good. It felt like the way wrestling should be. Ass kicking, take no names, manly, let's kick ass and be heroic and good guys and bad guys. And Braun Strowman was his own man. He wasn't taking Kane's BS. And Kane was like, I'm not scared of you, bro, even though you're bigger than me. I love everybody in this match. I love this match. I was worried about what would happen, but you got to see this, folks. Thumbs up like a motherfucker. This is my favorite pay-per-view of 2017 from WWE. And it was really because of that main event. And you can say I'm a mark. I don't care. Watch the fucking match. I enjoyed it. And thank you for watching my... What did you think? Did you love the match as much as I did? If not, it's okay. If so, share your love in the comments. I thank you so very much. And long live this kind of wrestling, bro. We need more. I'm not saying I want to see garbage main events like with lots of plunder and weapons, but I like this spontaneous fight feel, and I want more of it in WWE. It really was like a better version. Not better, but it was definitely a more wacky, I guess, more comedic version of the SummerSlam match, but in a good way, in a fun way. Thank you so very much for checking out my review of TLC 2017. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.